The EV revolution has been dominated by SUVs so far. Despite the Nissan Leaf's pioneering role as a smaller hatchback, recent years have favored larger vehicles, with the Tesla Model Y leading sales. However, some manufacturers are revisiting smaller urban cars. Zeekr, a challenger brand, introduces the X, targeting sophisticated city dwellers seeking a futuristic option. Join us as we discover the future of urban mobility with the Zeekr X, a promising city SUV that's revolutionizing the way we commute in style and sustainability. What on earth is that thing? Let's start with a bit of background, because unless you've been living in China, it's unlikely that you will have come across Zeekr until now. The company was only founded in 2021 and was intended to be one of Geely's premium electric car makers. We say one of because the beast that is Geely also happens to own Volvo, Polestar, Lotus and Smart, to name but a few. Anyway, Zeekr Europe was born around a year later, and the first shipments of this X and the swoopy 001 estate are currently on their way to Europe. Both the X and the 001 are based on versions of Geely's Sustainable Experience Architecture platform, with the X crossover sharing its underpinnings with cars like the Volvo X30 and the Smart 1 and 3 design. Zeekr's design chief is ex-VW Group and Mercedes man Stefan Silaff, but we're told that the X and 001 were mostly penned before he joined the company. And interestingly, we're actually getting quite strong BMW vibes from the X's exterior styling. It almost looks like a cross between an i3 and an iX, if the resulting creation was then crashed into from behind. Strangely pleasing to see that there isn't a generic light bar running across the rear though, and a panoramic roof is standard, as is a little circular screen on the outside of the B-pillar that gives you charging information when plugged in. For reference, the Zeekr X is 4.4 meters long and 1.8 meters wide, which means it's a size above its X30 and H1 siblings. Instead, it slots neatly in between the Volvo XC40 Recharge and the Mercedes EQA. What are the stats I need to know? The X comes in two forms, long-range RWD or privilege AWD. Both come with a 69 kilowatt-hour battery and the ability to rapidly charge at 150 kilowatts. But the long range makes do with just one motor that powers the rear wheels with 268 brake horsepower and 253 pound-foot of torque. The privilege AWD version adds an extra motor on the front axle for a total of 422 brake horsepower and 400 pound-foot of torque. Yep, that's well over 400 brake horsepower in a family crossover. Crikey. The result is 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds, and top speeds of 112 miles per hour for both. Zeekr claims up to 264 miles of range for the bonkers quick version and 276 miles for the slightly less speedy single motor. Not too much of a punishment if you want all that performance then. Right, so how does it drive? First impressions of the X. Well, we've only had the chance to drive an AWD version so far, and as expected, it's completely rapid. If we're honest, it's far too fast for a car such as this, and the eco-spec tires struggle to put all of the power down. Wheel spin and a loose rear end in an electric crossover with the traction control firmly on? Not ideal, especially as Zeekr reckons its traction control is 10 times quicker than standard systems. The Zeekr X is also a compact SUV with a soft passive suspension setup, offering a willowy ride with inconsistent body control. The R&D Center in Gothenburg engineered the X for Swedish roads, but it didn't seem to be evident on local Swedish roads. The steering is direct and decent, but the X struggles to hide its weight under braking and through corners. The X comes with 19 advanced driver assist systems, including a driver monitor system that is impossible to switch off and constantly blocks the view of the camera. Is it efficient? Strangely, we only managed 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour on a mixed route. That number increased in towns where the X feels more at home, but the AWD version with its larger 20-inch wheels didn't seem all that efficient. Worth noting here that RWD versions get slightly smaller, 19 inches. What is it like inside? Things are certainly more promising as you step inside. The interior is animal-free, and there are some nice-looking recycled materials dotted about the place. You sit high to get that proper crossover feel, and behind the squarish steering wheel, you get a clear 8.8-inch dial display screen that provides essential info and nothing more. The rest of the interior is then dominated by the 14.6-inch central infotainment screen. There are actually some physical buttons on the steering wheel, but everything else has to be controlled through submenus on the screen. Thankfully, it's a good quality unit powered by a Snapdragon chip and is mostly quite reactive, but the navigation was lagging a little bit behind in our pre-production test car, and given that it's such a big unit, A split-screen mode with multiple displays available would really improve the experience. Zeekr offers a limited range of trim levels, with the long-range RWD and privilege AWD options. The cars come with 13-speaker Yamaha surround sound audio, head-up display, wireless phone charging, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto connectivity, heated massage seats, multiple drive modes, active safety systems, a heat pump, and access to an app store. Oh, and one of the inbuilt apps uses an external speaker mounted near the front wheelchairs to project noises, music, or even your own voice on the outside of the car. Wait, what? So it sounds like a combustion car like the Abarth 500e? Absolutely not. Zeekr has used this function to program in some funny animal noises, a tractor startup sequence, and some pre-recorded messages like, "Thanks for giving way." And we've no idea why either. It also allows you to broadcast whatever radio station or song you're listening to everyone in the vicinity. Just remember to turn it off before you arrive home late at night. How practical is it? Well, there's plenty of space in the cabin. The large amount of glass helps it to feel bright and airy too, and there's lots of headroom and legroom in the rear. With the battery mounted under the floor, those rear seat passengers won't be able to slide their feet under the seats in front though. And the boot space is a little disappointing at 362 liters. The slightly smaller XC40 Recharge gets 452 liters of room back there. Plus, the Zeekr's front boot is barely big enough for a charging cable. How much will all of this cost? Here's where the Zeekr claws back some credibility, and where a fair few prospective buyers will likely be secured. In the Netherlands, a top-spec XC40 Recharge in ultimate trim with the twin-motor powertrain will set you back $69,565. In the same market, the AWD Zeekr X is just $53,798, and the more sedate RWD version is $4,890 less. That is mightily impressive. Zeekr X is available in Europe and UK, and has a planned release in Australia in mid-2024. All Zeekrs sold in Europe will come with an 8-year 200,000-kilometer battery warranty and a 5-year 100,000-kilometer vehicle warranty too, with the option to double the latter for a bit more cash. What do you think about Zeekr X? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for even more captivating content on all things electric vehicles. Until next time, may your journeys be filled with joyful driving experiences.